This should be interesting, Rob, because we've got Biden's racist comments over the years. Even Obama said when Biden was running initially, never underestimate Biden's ability to fuck things up. That was quite a strong statement. I heard him when he said that too. All right, let's just get into this thing. Let's see what Biden's got. He's a career politician, so you know he lies. But 48 years in politics? I don't trust the guy a bit. I don't trust politicians, period. Me either. But let's just see what he's got.
Are you going to apologize like Cory Booker
Apologize
has called
for what?
Cory Booker's called for it.
Cory should apologize. He knows better. There's not a racist bone in my body. I've been involved in civil rights my whole career.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and read
about
even call centers, which rushed overseas in the hundreds of thousands. How many times you get the call? I'd like to talk to you about your credit card. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. They're going to put you all back in chains.
In my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. The Democratic Party is diverse, and it should be reflected as so in our leadership.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Why does this happen?
I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this, Chuck, I'm not going to do this because let me just be really clear. Vice President Biden absolutely has a respect level for all people around him, for voters across this country, young people, older voters, voters of color, black people, Latino voters, indigenous, Asian American, Pacific Islander. So I'm not going to even traffic in any hypothetical conversation.
She doesn't want white people leading the party.
Enough. In my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
I think Joe Biden might be suffering from that same white entitlement and privilege and ego, where he's just that old school white male who feels like, hey, man, they need me, I don't need them, or I got them already.
Joe Biden is under fire this evening on comments he made about working alongside segregationist senators in the past.
Biden recalling his early Senate career, bringing up two segregationist senators, Herman Talmadge and James Eastland, who called African Americans an inferior race. I was in a caucus with James O. Eastland, Biden said. He never called me boy, he always called me son. At least there was some civility. We got things done. We didn't agree on much of anything. We got things done.
I think the two-party system, although my Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this, I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black in the South. Other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind a little bit.
Well, here's the thing about that, Rich, about the Republican Party in the South, that it was basically the party of black folks. And the Ku Klux Klan was a wing of the Democratic Party. Quite right. I know, it's quite disturbing how people have things backwards now, but the Republican Party was formed basically to stop the westward expansion of slavery. And now Democrats are claiming that they are the party of everybody, when in fact it has never been that way. It's always about group identity in order to control certain people. All right, let's get back to this and see it. I can't really stand this very much. I hate this stuff because I love everybody. So, all right, let's see what Biden's doing now.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
Choosing Joe to be my vice president was one of the best decisions I ever made.
Not the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook.
My son is Attorney General, a year in Iraq, came back, and that's one of the things that he finds was most in need. When he was over there in Iraq for a year, people would come to him and talk about what was happening to them at home in terms of foreclosures, in terms of bad loans that were these Shylocks who took advantage of these women and men. There's not a racist bone in my body. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Well, that was quite the episode there, Rich. What do you got to say about that? What's your take on it? It's Biden, of course. He's a lifelong politician, as we know, but he will lie, he will say anything he needs to get the vote. The thing that shocks me the most, really, is when you say what black people should be thinking, as though everybody thinks the same way. No group thinks the same way about anything, whether Jews, Asians, black, white, anybody. Nobody thinks the same way. Look at sports teams. Everybody has an idea about how to run a defense, an offense, special teams in football, whatever. Everybody's got a different approach. The thing is, Biden tells black people, if you don't do this, then you ain't black? I mean, I can't even believe somebody would say that in a public sphere. Totally agree. All right, folks, make up your own minds about what Joe Biden is about and how he lies to people. It's unbelievable. I'm not even shocked anymore, I must say. All right, that does it for this episode of The Rich and Rob Show. Yes, please subscribe to the channel, everybody. It helps move things along. See you on the next episode. Cheers!